Now we've just begun Women's Month in South Africa, where we remember the more than 20,000 women who marched to the Union buildings in 9th of August 1956 to protest against the extension of pass laws to women. We're also coming to the end of National Science Week, which is meant to increase awareness about science in general. And to help us unpack the significance of women in science and engineering, I'm now joined by Dr Reevana Balmahoon from Women in Engineering. Thanks so much indeed for joining us. Welcome to the program.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here.
All right, so we're coming towards the end of National Science Week today, and I guess even before we start talking about women in engineering, women in science, the journey really starts at school. And I just wonder, a country where it wasn't that long ago where black children weren't even allowed to study science, to are we getting them coming through studying science, and particularly girls?
Yep, that's correct. I think that getting women or even anyone involved in the STEM field is not just a South African issue, though it is a global issue. But we definitely are experiencing issues with that. That's right.
So talk to us about high schools. Are they starting to promote science, get more science teachers in, and get more students studying sciences?
Well, I believe that there are large drives in place for that. I've also recently seen that we are going to start introducing robotics, you know, at our lower levels as well. So I think that's very important. But we also have, for example, the work that we do at WomEng, where we introduce high school girls into engineering. We explain to them what it is like to study engineering and try to bring them into the engineering sphere from as early as their high school years as well. Yeah.
All right. So when you were at school, for example, how many girls were studying sciences and taking it through to matric and studying post further?
We were definitely in the minority. Definitely less than half the class was doing that. Yeah.
All right. So I suppose what happens next is getting women into careers and professions, and this is part of the work that you do as Women in Engineering. Tell us why you set it up.
Definitely. So what we're trying to do at WomEng, in fact, we've made a commitment to the UN where we want to encourage 1 million girls to pursue a career in STEM in the next 10 years. It's a commitment that we've made, and we've done that primarily through our foundation program, so GirlEng, which encourages high school girls to pursue a career in engineering, and something called Launchpad, where we're actually giving out, or we're allowing for people to apply for certain kits. These are open resource kits where they're able to apply for a grant and then host a WomEng event in their specific area. So we've at the moment approached, or we reached about 50,000 beneficiaries, and we're wanting that to increase exponentially now with the use of these toolkits.
Yeah. All right. So, and with this support, is it making a difference? You know, because I suppose there are things that get in their way, challenges, and also trying to find a career path that they need help with.
So what we find is that there is still a drastic, need for there to be more women in the STEM field. And two of the main issues that we see for there being a lack of women in this environment. The first thing is that there's a stereotype that says that women can't be engineers or women can't be involved in the technology space. And then the second thing is that there's a lack of female role models.
Yeah.
So we find that often in corporates, wherever it is, there's actually, even in academia, there's a lack of female role models.
Yeah.
It's very easy for a female to see a woman in a position and aspire to be like her, and that helps. But we do have a lack of that.
And then women, when you arrive at work and they see a young woman, do you still have to prove your worth and prove yourself that you are just as good as your male counterparts?
I actually have fun with that sometimes, because people often don't believe that you are. You often get mistaken for a PA in a meeting or something like that. And then you say something clever and everyone looks at you in, with a wow sense. But yeah.
So one of the things, this last week actually, I was at a Nuclear Radiation Protection Association dinner, and there were top three students, based on their research papers, were young women, and I was pleasantly surprised by that. So is this something that you're finding women are starting to excel in the sciences?
Not actually starting to.
Yeah.
So when I was at university, I
Yeah.
noticed this. We were in the minority in my class, even in all aspects of engineering as well. Very few females, but the top top engineers actually were females. In my year, I was a top computer engineering student. Even in my year, we had top electronic engineering, also female as well. So it is a trend. There are few females, but
Yeah. All right. So you've mentioned computer engineering, which you did, and I just wonder, as we're in the midst of 4IR, is this the kind of areas that young women, young girls should be thinking about entering?
Definitely. I think there's definitely room for that. We've all seen the data that's come forth earlier this week with regard to unemployment rates and things like that. Everyone's talking about 4IR, everyone's talking about digitization. And I think that unlocking, that if we look into the STEM field, that's how we're going to unlock value. And encourage people and cultivate skills within the STEM environment. That's how we will make it work.
All right. So, what next? In terms of getting these numbers up, you've formed Women in Engineering. What else can we do? Can companies be being deliberately, getting involved, supporting children? What can they do?
So this is the big thing as well.
Yeah.
I mean, we've come from South Africa, but we operate in 22 countries across the world. So we're actually quite big at the moment, but we couldn't have done this alone. We have humble beginnings, but we always value the sponsorships and support that we have received from corporate, and the investments that we have received. So definitely want to get more involvement in that way. We also have something broader called WOM Hub, and an online hub in that space, where we actually say it is the largest online platform for female engineering talent globally. And we want to get investors on board. We want to get corporates involved in that as well. Yeah.
And which areas are you finding that women are becoming more interested in terms of engineering?
We find that there are more and more interest coming in our engineering space in the technology environment.
Right.
So I see more interest in robotics, more interest in artificial intelligence, more interest in analytics going forth. Yeah.
But I would imagine that things like climate change are big issues, and we need engineers to come up with, crops and seeds and things like that are drug resistant, sort of climate resistant and that kind of thing?
It's actually quite interesting you say that. So at our last fellowship that we held, so we brought together 60 of the brightest minds, engineering minds in the country in terms of university students to come forth and put together solutions that deal with our sustainable goals for the UN. And they were quite ideas that were pitched in that sense as well. And we find that helps a lot. In fact, we're also seeing collaboration as well. We've seen fellows that have come forth and put together solutions from South Africa, Kenya, Mozambique. We're seeing quite a few of that come forth.
All right, so final word to young students who probably, I think it's about grade 10 that you start to think about subjects that you want. What's your message to them? Because I think there's sometimes this fear about sciences.
Yeah, my main message would be do not be afraid of it. It's not to be feared, it's merely to be understood. That's it. So go forth and achieve as much as you can.
And so many careers that are waiting for you there.
That's precisely it. Yeah.
All right, fantastic. It's been a pleasure talking to you. Good luck with the rest of the work that you're doing at WOMEng, and let's hope that we quadruple the number of female engineers that are out there. Yep. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
All right, so we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll bring you your sports, and Stuart Baxter is no more